The things that we avoid or the things that we try to ignore are usually the things that will bring us the most peace. And this is because our lack of peace is rooted in fear. Fear of confrontation, fear of change, fear of pain, fear of the unknown. Now, if you don't know what you're avoiding, look into what in your life is giving you anxiety, or maybe what you're feeling the most guilty about. What reoccurring thoughts are you having? What sins are you repeating? Or what are you procrastinating? A lot of times that will reveal to you exactly what is causing your lack of peace. And it'll also reveal to you exactly what you are fearing. Because facing those fears head on is something that I had to learn in order to achieve God's peace. One of those fears is something that we're all familiar with, which is the fear of confrontation. Confrontation is especially hard because nobody likes to open that door of getting a bad reaction, or being judged, or having to express how you feel knowing that someone might get offended. But confrontation is something that is necessary in our walk with God. And this applies to non-believers as well, because in order to find God in the first place, you have to confront the fact that you may have to look at things in a different light. That's definitely something I had to confront before I even knew Jesus, because I wasn't a full believer, but I was afraid that if I had opened my mind, that I would change, and I was afraid that that change would be painful, when in reality that change is what led me to find peace. But let's say you do know God, or you do have faith in Him. A lot of times, even though we have our faith, we tend to avoid the Lord, the one source of our peace we can run away from at times because, again, we're afraid of confrontation. We're afraid of taking accountability for our actions. I know a lot of times when I've sinned or when I've messed up, I'm afraid to go to God. Or maybe instead of God, we're avoiding to have a hard conversation with somebody, or to put ourselves in a situation where we're not going to necessarily be comfortable, something we're unfamiliar with. That can be really scary, but you won't feel any sense of peace until you get it over with. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. So while you may be avoiding something to feel safe, a lot of the times it is just stealing your peace. And if you've been walking with God and you've been walking steadily with Him, has He been revealing anything to you that you need to confront? Because sometimes He will point out situations for us to deal with, situations that will bring us closer to Him. And in my experience, it's because He wants us to see His strength and power through it. How will we feel the strength of God if we're not put in situations that require us to be strong or require His supernatural power? And of course, confrontation does not need to be mean. You can confront someone or something by being gentle and being kind about it. But again, the more you avoid it, the more it will rob you of your peace. Something that someone once told me when I was dealing with a lot of anxiety about a situation. I was afraid of confronting something, and this person said that it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. And this is so true in our walk with God, because when He calls us to do something, or when He calls us to go somewhere, our minds can race into thinking of every possible thing that can go wrong. And this is something that all believers deal with, especially people in the Bible. There are so many stories in the Word of God's people just being afraid, of not wanting to do what God is calling them to do because they're so fearful. They don't see a way out. Even though God has shown His power time and time again, they still think it's impossible. Now, another thing that can lead to a lack of peace is the fear of change. In many situations, peace is often on the other side of change. But change can be scary, and many times we tend to cling on to what we know because it's familiar. Even if it's not good for us, we don't like being uncomfortable. But sometimes our peace, or even our breakthrough, are found on the other side of that fear. Sometimes change is needed in order to achieve that peace that you desire. And it ties in with confrontation because sometimes change is a result of confrontation. Sometimes it's a result of facing what is paining you, because true healing can only come from facing your pain head on. We have to step forward, take a small step, even if you feel afraid. Jesus wasn't in the boat during the storm. He was outside of it, and He called Peter to come forward. When we are so afraid of confrontation or change or pain or the unknown, or if you're in the middle of a storm and you're looking to find peace again, remember that you serve a God that is with you in the storm. He's not a result of the storm. He is not waiting outside the storm, looking at your every move. He is in it with you. When Peter fixed his eyes on Jesus, he was able to walk on water. And even when he took his eyes off Him and sank, the Lord quickly pulled him out. So even if you've been avoiding God for a long time, or maybe you're going through something and you don't know where to turn to, the Lord is always there to help you. He always reaches out his hand to us. It's just up to us to reach back and to open our hearts to peace. I'd like to read to you a verse to keep with you that always helps me when I'm feeling fearful and when I need to feel peace. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. I hope that these verses encourage you to keep your eyes on the Lord, because only through him will you find that perfect peace. And so if you're avoiding God, run back to him. Or if you're in a situation that seems impossible or is chaotic, turn to him. He will give you strength. He will work through you. He will help you get through those storms, and he will give you his peace through it. I hope today's message spoke to you today. And if you need prayer on this or prayer about anything in general, I have a prayer request form in my description. I want to give a huge thank you to my members on this channel. Your support encourages and blesses me so much, and I am so thankful for all of you. Please take care of yourself and remember that Jesus is the Prince of Peace and that he loves you so much.